On extreme elevation. 8. 5. On extreme elevation. 8. 5. How fast can you go?
And the anniversary is on when you get down, it's like really hard to get there. Here. We're going to Ben Salem. See the Never again.
Dan Tucker was a mean old man, washing his face in a frying pan, combed his hair in a wagon wheel, he lied up a toothpick in his heel. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Came down the other night, I heard the news and saw the fight. The watchman he was running wild, saying, "Old Dan Tucker ain't going down." And get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper.
them! Press them! Press them!
Ready!
you have an opportunity of reading Jonathan General, which we did make that film, and we bring the last Omega. Look inside the acknowledgement and you see my name, Dr. Krause, as the historian. He played, obviously, the part of General AP, with Martin Sheen, and some of the other actors. Director loves history, and he could play any time he wanted to, and was doing extras on the Wall Street. So, Tom Berenger is a great actor, and of course, there's Martin Sheen, but Robert E. Lee, he was the first person to tell him to play Robert E. Lee. Some of the other actors that go there was in fact, back in the early days, 1980, Charlton Heston was over the wall. We moved on, and Robert Devon had the opportunity to play Robert E. Lee. And Hannibal was like to play Robert E. Lee in the field of Jonathan General. And so the other actors is over the road, James Garner. And Richard Harris, a great actor.
Underneath the trigger guard, the thumb across the top, and the rest of the fingers are wrapped around the small of the stock, just like that. And this part of the rifle between the first and second band rests right in where your arm is attached to your shoulder. Right here. Straight down. The arm is hanging straight down, the rifle straight up and down. The other one on right shoulder shift, you take your hand and finger position should be in such a way that the butt, that's called the comb of the stock, is visible between your forefinger and your middle finger, and the thumb touches the forefinger. I know there was a minor little thing, but it looks sharp when everybody has it the same way. And your wrist should be semi-straight there, right across the stock, just like that. And you have right shoulder.
So now, being in the film Gettysburg, as an actor yourself, playing part of AP on Delaware. Tell me about once again, what was his role in the Civil War? Where did he fight, and what was the end result?
Shoulder on.
The end result and he signed with By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You just said Culpeper. I think Washington used that as an alias name for a spy.
On the other side.
Over in Secaucus. It was Woodhill.
Hold it! Out! 2 paces forward! Push! Italian! Center truss. Best to the center. Italian! To the rear and open order! Push! Italian! Inspection! Arms! Yes, bayonet and everything.
Fix bayonets. Not
Fix bayonets.
Blue, if you look at that nice center button,
By file from right to left. One at a time. You covered?
I was going to do it.
At extreme elevation. Aim. Fire. Recover. Order. On. About face. In place. Rest.
Not today. Let's go. This is your first time ever seeing
Yell independent fire. Here's the problem. You're loading a single-shot weapon. You cannot hear yourself think. At Gettysburg, they found a weapon with 13 rounds crammed in it. The man had never capped it. They would have to reach in their front to the cap box to remove a tiny, tiny fulminate of mercury cap and place it on the nipple of the gun. Sadly, it never worked because they were so nervous they would drop it. So unless you were a seasoned soldier, which they weren't in 1861, you lost more caps than you fired. The Army saw that and would supply them in each load of ammunition a whole tube of caps that they would refill their cap box. But that was the problem. The weapons frequently weren't capped off, they wouldn't fire, they would misfire. Now they're coming around the side. Here we go. If everybody out there could come behind the fence, you're going to see it. The soldiers from Kentucky, half of North Carolina, northern Georgia, and so forth all fought for the Union. There were northern units from those states. And they're down in the swale by the church. You hear the drum beating, it's not just to keep people in step, that's how they communicated, with drum beat and with bugle calls. Without those, the officers would go hoarse in about 15 minutes and then no commands would go out.
They're now firing as a they will go in a little later. We'll start backing up. They'll go into skirmish order, which is usually about 10 paces apart as they maneuver around on the battlefield.
They act like they're dead?
They act, yes. They act like they're dead. They drop the weapons dead. They should lay there. They have to pull off the leadership. Wonder what death.
Easily see it didn't matter what color your uniform was. In a few minutes, you couldn't see anything with all the smoke. So my red pants weren't as an easy target as you think they would. One thing that people don't realize, and when we do demonstrations, we expect to get everything they want. Black powder isn't that predictable, especially when
This is like water.
Fall back! Fall back! Fall back! Fall back! Fall back! This way!
Here, here.
Extreme elevation.
This way, all the way!
Line, what's the wheel us?
Right here. Line! Line right here.
also be firing 69 caliber
Press your line! Press your line! Press your line! Here, boys! Hold and hold! Hold and hold! Ready, boys? Ready!
Somebody ready?
Hey!
Hey!
Fight! Whoa!
Question, how many men were involved in a skirmish on this side?
Three paces back to the rear! Three paces to the rear! Left to the right! To the right! To the right!
Companies, theoretically, a company was armed. By that point in November of 1861,
That's right.
getting slowly but surely pushed into the situation he doesn't want.
Yes, I see.
Superior numbers.
No one's a guy over there.
He's calling for them to hold the line. And they have to hold the line, not necessarily to hold the ground, but remember they need that firepower.
That's how.
Once they break up into small groups, they do not have the ability to push the Union back with heavy artillery. You'll also notice that the command group has moved back.
It's over here someplace. I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah, there he is.
Grounded arms.
When is he? Is he still standing? Yeah, no, he's on the ground. He's around. Didn't make it. Yeah.
Reversing their rifles means they're surrendering.
I need 2 minutes to get her officer now! 2 minutes, let's go! Go up.
And now securing the prisoners. And these prisoners eventually would go back to prison camps, north and south. Since the governments weren't ready for the prisoners, these camps were not very pretty places. One of the worst was located in Elmira, New York, which is still known to this day as Elmira. And the numbers of deaths of Confederate soldiers, the barracks weren't ready, there was no heat. Anyone who has spent a winter in the northern part of New York State, it is not exactly pleasant. Of course, we all do and have heard the stories of Andersonville, but there were also Union prison camps which were just as bad. During the war, remember, these were Americans that kind of spoke the same English, though there's a great scene in Gettysburg that's true because they couldn't understand each other. Somebody from Maine and somebody from Tennessee. But you also had them trade back and forth newspapers and coffee. My grandfather's uncle. He's taking down the Confederate flag. One thing that most people don't realize, what you see flying is the actual Confederate national flag. The flag that everybody complains about was never flown by the Confederacy. That flag is the Naval Jack. It was issued only a couple days before the Confederacy collapsed, which is why those terrorists and those people in the Ku Klux Klan were able to use it. Though many of the soldiers were involved, they would not sully the banners they fought under. No one fought under that particular rectangular flag, so they use it. This is what they call the Stars and Bars, which is coming down. The Confederacy actually had a series of 4 different national flags. They went from this one, they had the Bonnie Blue before this, which was a blue flag with a white star. Then they went ahead and took the battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia and put a white field on it. After that, in 1865, they realized everybody looked like they were surrendering, so they put a red band at the end of the white field, but that actually was rarely carried because it came at the end of the war. This flag you're going up is the U.S. Army flag of 1861. This is identical to the flag that was flown at Fort Sumter. One thing most people do not realize, there wasn't any flag code as we have today. The flag didn't belong on the right or left side, it just belonged somewhere. The colors were not carried in a specified way. The stars could be put on any way you pleased as long as there were stars on it. In fact, it didn't even matter how many numbers were, and sometimes they would take an old flag and sew an extra star on it when a new state was added, so you had some really strange arrangements. This was one the Army used, it's a diamond shape. The public used one with circular shape. You see some of those up on the front. They kept changing back and forth. The average life of a battle flag, the flags the regiments carried, was about 6 months. Every 6 months they would be torn to shreds. They're silk. Anybody who has ever had a silk dress has always been told never stand out in the sunshine. And that was one of the problems. By the way, you see all these movies and you see them with a Confederate flag as a tablecloth. No Union Army unit would ever do that. What they did with them is they were sacred things they captured, so they would send them back home and save them. The tablecloth usually was an American flag because in those days you used your best and most beautiful things to put on your table. Most people use the American flag as a tablecloth. To us today, that would be horrible. To them, it was something to honor the most sacred thing in their lives. We were a different regiment at that, a different country at that time. The Star-Spangled Banner we know today wasn't played that way, and it wasn't the national anthem. Hail Columbia was. It really was never voted on. The Star-Spangled Banner was sung the way it was written. It's a British Army drinking song. It was purposely set to the music to annoy the British Army after the War of 1812. So if you hear it played in the Civil War version, it shows you a young country that's basically telling the rest of the world, drop dead, we're coming. And it's a totally same with the flag. It was your flag. Whatever you wanted to fly, that was fine with the government. It isn't until the 1930s that that changes.
Company, freezing! Up! Shoulders up! Order up! Ready, left!
As you look at the uniforms, these uniforms are
Reverse wheel. Let's go. Get up, little guys. Right here.
One goal in this area over here is to have the area cultivated, and we'll grow produce. And the product that we grow will be donated to, for example, Island Harvest or other organizations. Civic groups can get involved. They can be for example, Rotary Cares, Sable Chamber Cares, Girl Scout Cares. They can all have a little part, like a community garden. They can do things like that. We also have plans of creating a greenhouse, and this way we can grow things all year round. And we'll combine that with adult education and children's education, get the schools involved. And your name is?
Vicky Berger.
And you are, what is your role here?
I'm with the Islip Historical Society. I'm curator for the Islip Hamlet. For a period of time, I was Town of Islip curator for historic properties, which included the Grange.
Can you tell us a little bit about this house that people want to see?
Sure. This is the Benjamin Tuttle House. It was built in 1850. Captain Benjamin Tuttle lived in the main quarters, and the addition, this two-room exhibit, was actually on his property, and then he joined the two together to extend the house. The town acquired this property in the 1970s, and we opened these two rooms as an exhibit space.
And what are some of the items that are inside? Are there antiques in here?
Please accept my apologies.
You just gave a donation. Can you tell me why? What moved you?
I don't think
I'm
we
a
have to
historical buff,
disappear.
and I love the Civil War and all the history of it. Where are you from, Robert? Montauk? Montauk. And how did you find out about this event today? Joe, what's your name? Oh, nice to meet you. Did you enjoy yourself today? Great.
All those in favor?
I came to town the other night. I heard the news and saw the fight. A watchman, he was running wild, saying, "Oh, Dan Tucker, he come to town. Let's get out the way, yo, Dan Tucker. You're too late to get your supper. Get out the way, yo, Dan Tucker."